Hi, I'm Ethel McDonald, a member of the Steering Committee for the Missoula Advocates for Human Rights, and we appreciate having this time on MCAT every other Tuesday from 8:30 until 10 for various human rights and social justice programs. For the last 2 weeks, we have been occupied as a group and for our show with the community reaction to the arson of the home of Carla Grayson and Adrienne Neff. On February 19th, we showed the first half of the Saturday rally, and we found it very inspirational to watch again, and particularly inspirational for many of us was the speech by Carla Grayson. So before we begin tonight's show and I introduce the panel members, we thought we would replay Carla's speech. So we're ready for that video.
You can tell I'm a professor because I brought notes. Standing room only, I've been waiting for this. Being burnt out of our home is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. It's the kind of experience that can make you lose hope. It can make you lose hope in the goodness of all people. But in fact, there is a lot of good in our world. And ever since we climbed out of that window and away from that fire, we have encountered nothing but good from our community. Everybody has embraced us. You have embraced us by coming here. Your generosity, your kindness, your friendship, and your compassion is what has kept us going for the last 36 hours, probably the longest 36 hours of my life. And I really don't know what I would have done without all of you. What happened to us may have made you angry. It may have made you very, very angry. And that's fine. But that kind of anger can lead to hatred, and that's not okay. And I'm here to ask you to channel that anger into something positive, into some sort of positive action. I want you to take that anger and use it to move you to build bridges across our community, so that no one ever need experience prejudice or discrimination, whether of the magnitude that we've experienced just recently or in much subtler and mundane ways in their everyday lives. No matter what group these people might belong to, no matter what personal identity they might claim. And so, I'd like each of you to take a moment right now and imagine an action that you personally will commit to take. And this could, in this coming week, to make the peace that we dream of a reality. It could be something as big as joining in future actions. Could be sending money to something. It doesn't have to be to us. There are a lot of good places you could send your money. It could be as small as talking to someone that might be a reach for you because you felt uncomfortable with them before because they're a little bit different than you. And so I'd all like you to close your eyes for a moment and really see yourself choose an action and see yourself doing this action. Imagine where you'll be, what you'll be wearing, who you'll be talking to. what the weather will be like. And now that you have that image in your head, I want you to go out and make that real. And that will really make a difference. And that's how you can help us. Thank you.
Okay, I think that was a beautiful speech that inspired many of us to try to keep a positive focus in the weeks that have passed since then. One of the very positive actions that came in the last few weeks is that Amy Martin wrote and performed the song that you heard at the opening of the program, Phoenix, Letter to the Arsonist, or to an Arsonist. And my positive action was helping Amy to get that made into a single CD so that many people could hear it. And so that CD is available at Rockin' Rudy's and the Jeanette Rankin Peace Center, and also at the GLBT Community Center. Buttons are also available at the JRPC, as long as we're doing a commercial here. And it's my pleasure to welcome our panelists tonight. What we're going to do for tonight's program is to show the remainder of the Saturday rally. And then when that has finished, that'll be about 30 minutes or so of that, then we will return to the panel. And so for now, I would like to have our panelists introduce themselves. We have Ann Harris and Bruce Bigley and Anna Starkson. I knew I would mess up. So, and that doesn't help when the phone rings. So thank you, and we'll start with Ann.
My name is Ann Harris. I'm a counselor in town. Also a member of the lesbian community and one of the founding board members of the Western Montana Gay and Lesbian Community Center. The relationship to these events is to be a person who, for the first time in living in Missoula since 1976, I have to lock my doors at night in fear, and I have to lock my cars at night and be sure they're locked, and have gone through fire escape plans with my child to make sure that she can make it out of her bedroom window in case she can't use the door to exit the house through the hallway. That's for the first time, and I suppose, like a lot of people, I've been experiencing and dealing with some increase of anxiety and fear. And so as therapist, I'm here to answer some of those questions and to speak also from my heart about those experiences.
Thank you.
I'm Bruce Bigley. I'm chair of the English department at the University of Montana. I'm a member of Outfield Alliance, which is the faculty and staff and graduate student organization of gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgendered persons. We, as an organization, and I can speak more about that later, but began the process that led to the suit, which seems to have been one of the causes or the cause of the arson. And so I have mixed feelings about that. But I suppose, all in all, I'm glad we're going ahead with the process. I can speak later on about the history of the suit and what we're asking for, as well as my own personal feelings. I guess my action has been, in recent months, although I wasn't all that closeted before, rushing out of the closet in various venues like this, on TV, on the front page of Sunday's Missoulian, which I didn't realize was going to be quite so prominent, but it was, and that's fine. So I'll be happy to answer questions later or speak.
And I'm Anna Storkson. I'm a second-year law student here at the University of Montana, and I'm here as a concerned human being. And in the recent events that have happened, there have been a lot of discussions in the legal community, and especially in the school, about what we as leaders in our community, in the legal sense, can help with these types of discrimination acts, and hope to be able to address some of the more legal issues, maybe, surrounding the lawsuit and Montana constitutional issues. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I believe he's playing the tape now? No?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we are ready for the tape.
At this time, I would love to invite up Karen Lewis, and you represent PFLAG, and I believe you also represent Missoula Advocates for Human Rights.
That's right, both. You two with one.
She's an overachiever.
My name is Karen Lewis, and I'm the current chair for Missoula Advocates for Human Rights. That's Missoula's affiliate for the Montana Human Rights Network, and I'm co-chair with Joe Lewis of PFLAG, Missoula Five Valleys, the local affiliate for parents, friends, and families of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and trans communities. We have testified before the legislature. We'll continue to go there as long as it takes. I'm a proud parent of one, proud family member of some, proud friend of several, proud neighbor of more, proud Missoulian of more, proud Montanan of many more, and proud United States citizen and world citizen of countless gay, lesbian, bisexual, trans people. Yesterday, all day, beginning with a heart-stopping phone call from the Outfield Alliance, I was struck by the presence of fire in our lives, the uses, many meanings, and very deep symbolism of fire. Yesterday was all about fire. Fire has long been used as a weapon and a means of oppression. That is how terrorists used it, both in New York and in Missoula. But in the West, we know something about fighting fire with fire. When I watched the opening ceremonies for the Olympics last night, it too was all about fire. This Olympic slogan is "Light the fire within," a symbolic child of light. Indeed, many children of light were led by a fiery being symbolizing the fire within. This is not this is a light of mine, I'm going to let it shine kind of fire. This is an inner fire and a source of energy to draw on. This is the Holy Spirit, the Earth Mother, the source, the center of all our love and creative energy. The Olympic dream struggles mightily to hold the symbol of fire before humanity as one great hope for the best that humanity and the world can be. If we in Missoula also dream that Missoula should be the best that it can be, the best that we can be, if we in Missoula dream of a community of thoughtful safety, caring growth, beautiful diversity, and loving support, we have to find that fire within ourselves, and we have to work for our dream. It isn't enough anymore to say, I'm a nice person, you're a nice person, Missoula is a nice town, and isn't everything nice? It's not all nice. When you see the women who are literally eating fire again, the lesbian avengers after the rally, pay attention to that symbolism. If you do nothing else, pay attention to that and make it a symbol for your own life, and we'll have an opportunity ahead for you to carry that symbol personally. Thank you.
I'd like to bring up this time Professor of Philosophy, Al Borcher from the University of Montana.
I'm Albert Borman, and I'm here to convey the sympathy and support of the university. A day like yesterday reminds us at the university of our most fundamental task, and that is to teach human rights, to teach the moral norms of equality, of dignity, of self-determination, and of the principle of tolerance that flows from these norms. And as Ron Erickson has well pointed out, we have a responsibility to conduct ourselves accordingly. We have to teach those norms in a way that is resourceful and convincing so that those whom we teach will in turn be resourceful and convincing advocates of these moral norms, and that they will carry them to every place in the state and to every person. But a day like yesterday and an occasion like today calls for more than rights and responsibilities. It calls for affection and gratitude. Affection for our gay and lesbian brothers and sisters who have suffered untold and undeserved misery simply being who they are. And it calls for gratitude for the friendships that they have extended to us, for the contributions that they have made to the university and to the community. And it has been said before, admiration for the constancy and courage that they have shown in the pursuit of justice. And if we take their example, if we follow their example and show similar perseverance and fortitude, then the day will come when they will be secure and appreciated everywhere in this country. Thank you.
Alexander Solzhenitsyn says, violence does not and cannot exist by itself. It is invariably intertwined with the lie. The lie continues to be told about the lives of gay men and lesbians. The lie would have people believe that gay men and lesbians are responsible for most major ills of society, from the breakdown of traditional families and the abuse of children and the attacks on the World Trade Towers, to the destruction of all Western civilization. The lies are told by so-called Christians who like to say they love us while they pour more fuel on the fire. The lies are told by more than half of the Montana state legislators who close their eyes and harden their hearts to their own constituents who come before them for justice, and they vote once again to deprive them of their basic human rights. The lies are repeated so often that certain segments of the population believes them. They feel justified and emboldened as they select their targets and carry out violence. They believe most community leaders will condemn these women for their love and overlook the perpetrators' hate. They believe the police will only half-heartedly investigate this crime. They believe that the rest of the community will remain silent. They believe it because they hear so few people speaking out against these lies. I really hope they are wrong this time. I believe they are wrong this time. Why is it that hundreds of us are gathered here to express our outrage at this crime when there are many other crimes that happen that are equally serious, perhaps more physically damaging to the victims? It's because there is something different about this crime. These women were selected because of who they represent. A group of people unwilling to remain silent about injustice against them. The perpetrators want to send a message to other lesbians and gay men in Montana and across the country that they are unwanted, that they should keep their mouths shut, go back into the closets, or leave town. And if we don't, we deserve to die. That's the message they want to send us. They have at least partially succeeded. The only way I know how to respond to the lie is to tell the truth. I am a lesbian. I have been a public advocate for gay and lesbian civil rights. My address is very easy to find, and this is the scaredest I have been in Montana. But there's more truth to be told, and Adrian and Carla and Carol and Nancy are telling part of my truth as they tell their own. That they have families very much like most of us. that they work and play and care for each other, just like most of us, that they want to contribute and give back to their communities, like most of us, and that it really hurts when they are not treated fairly, just like it hurts all of us when we are not treated fairly, and that the pain of living in silence is greater than the fear of violence. I invite everyone here to go tell these simple truths to your neighbors and your colleagues, and for God's sakes, to your children. Then one day, we can all live our lives and participate in this democracy without fear. Thank you. Especially appreciate about telling our children. Thank you. Whew, okay. This gentleman's been standing here for a long time. We thank you so much for coming. I'm ringing here. I'm sorry. What we have up next is Bob Reed, and he's from our police department, and we thank him so much for coming here. I know he's really busy, and we thank you for being here. Bob Reed.
First of all, I want to thank you for having me here. It's a great pleasure. It's an odd thing. I don't have a speech, and I don't have a lot to say, and certainly not anything that can improve on what we've heard already. And what I do want to say is really personal. Like a lot of you here, I wasn't born in Missoula. I picked this place. And I remember 22 years ago when I started to work on the police department, I was riding across the Madison Street Bridge at about 2 in the morning in the winter. And I just looked down the Clark Fork towards the Wilma building and off into the lights on the river, and looking over at the guy that I was riding with and just saying, God, I like it here. I really like this place. And I think he probably thought I was a little nuts. But I did. This is where I wanted to live. And as someone told me very recently, one of the things that she liked about living in Missoula is that she didn't feel she needed to be afraid here, that she could be who she was in this town. And I like that about Missoula as well. My mother called me this morning, and she lives in a little town in central Illinois. And she was calling to tell me that she had read about this in the local newspaper. And of all the things that I would want somebody to read about Missoula, that's not it. Unfortunately, in the time I've been a police officer, a lot of my working life has been spent learning from people that they're afraid to go to sleep in their homes at night for a variety of reasons. That's a very sad commentary on the human condition, I suppose. In a perfect world, I'd be out of work, and I'd be glad of it, I think. But I guess one of the things that heartens me about all that is that although some of us are afraid to go to sleep at night for whatever reasons, so many people here today, there must be 500 or 600 of you out there, weren't afraid to come here today. And I just want to tell you that I'm very happy to share this down with you. Thank you.
Signing for us. Let's give her just a moment to rest. She is working. Did you notice her working? Okay. Gotta take care of those people. I don't know why this is doing what it's doing now. So,
bring up, and I just got to meet him about before we started, is Gene Curtis, our county commissioner. Thank you.
On behalf of Missoula County, I thank all of you for coming together today to show, show our community and our nation that Missoula does not tolerate hate. I talked to my uncle in San Diego this morning, or Palm Springs actually, I don't know why San Diego's in my mind. And he too had read it in the paper there. Since September 11th, our nation has focused on terrorism and homeland security. Yesterday, Adrian, Carla, and their son experienced terror. The terror of being in a house on fire, the terror of their child being in danger, the terror of knowing someone wanted you to die, and the terror that it could happen again. The security of their home did not protect them. But this wasn't just a crime against them or a crime against Carol and Nancy. It was a cowardice crime against our community, our rights, and our freedoms. It can happen to them, it can happen to us. There are many in this room and across our nation who experience fear for being who they are, and that is wrong. Discrimination for any reason is not acceptable. And it's time for all of us to stand together with our Missoula delegation and others in our legislature and say we will no longer allow our state to not protect all of us against hate. We must also participate in what is sometimes called the bystander strategy of preventing domestic violence and discrimination. We can't just look the other way. We can't laugh at degrading jokes. Others are counting on us, and we can make a difference. Integrity, honesty, compassion, respect, fairness, truth, human worth, dignity, and tolerance. These are values that transcend all philosophies, all religions, and all cultures, and we should not accept anything less.
Which brings up for us the subject which I was asked to remember, which is to look around you and know that you're not, we have people here not only from Missoula, but from across the state and further. We have people here from Butte, from Lake County, from Helena, from Bozeman. Let's give them a thank you for coming. For coming all the way from Michigan, a good friend of Adrian and Carla's, Sue Penn, come from Michigan.
I felt so strongly led to speak to you all that a last-minute flurry of frantic note passing got me up here onto the podium. Yesterday morning about 9 o'clock, I was in bed with my infant son playing peekaboo when Adrian called to tell me about the attack on them. And 8 hours later, I was on an airplane on my way here. And what I want to say to you all is that you've had Adrian and Carla among you for about 18 months. They've been Missoulians for about a year and a half, but they've been part of other communities in other places for a lot longer than that. And I wanted to come and speak to you on behalf of friends and family in a community in Ann Arbor, Michigan that Adrian was part of for more than 15 years. Family in Tennessee, family in New Jersey, family and friends as far away as Austria, who I know want, just like I wanted, to come here and see for myself that they were okay. Just to look at them and witness for myself that they are living and breathing. And I want to share with you that because I've known them for so long, I've gotten to be part of things with them that you haven't been able to, that you missed a lot in the years before they came here. I remember when Carla was nothing more to me than some lanky soccer player Adrian was very excited about. I danced at their wedding. I held their son in my arms when he was less than an hour old. This family is more precious to me and to others back in Michigan than almost anything I can think of. And yet, they're no more precious to me than your own beloveds are to you. Your lovers, your children that you're raising together, the ex-lovers you've sort of never been able to get out of your lives. That's for all you lesbians. We didn't give them up to you easily. It wasn't easy for us to entrust our precious treasures to you here in Missoula. And it has been a wonderful gift to me to be here today, to be at the meeting that we attended earlier to organize this rally and other activities, to be here seeing you all, and to know that our trust in you has not been misplaced, that our precious treasures are safe with you. And I ask you to take care of them as you take care of each other in the coming weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. At this time, it's my pleasure to bring Christine up from the Western Montana Gay and Lesbian Community Center. Christine Kozak.
And I think I'm the last one, so thanks for being patient. The Western Montana Gay and Lesbian Community Center is a place of safety. It's a place for every gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgendered, straight, queer, or questioning community member. And we're here today because our community was threatened. We're deeply saddened at the recent events of hate and intolerance. Many of us experienced grief, shock, horror, and loss with this tragedy. We feel it in our hearts, and we are indeed frightened. And when I heard the comment that we weren't frightened to come here today, I have to say that I felt fright in my heart when I walked up the steps. Fright that we would once again become a target here when we were all gathered safely. I'm glad to see that hasn't come true. But that fright was still very much there. Like the women's chorus, I also have a dream that me, my family, my lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered community are safe, free, and welcome tonight, tomorrow, next week, next year, and 5 years from now. I am blessed by my employer that they provide benefits for both me, my spouse, my domestic partner, and our children. that this is not a special right, as so many would lead you to believe. This is my right as a human being. The community... The Community Center takes a strong stance against hate crimes. Sometimes we don't quite know what to do about them since we're not supported by our government. But we believe the actions of the last 72 hours were indeed hate crimes. That the victims that were targeted because they were lesbians. I am a lesbian. And I'm a mom. And I'm a social worker. And I'm a taxpayer. And I'm a community leader. And I'm a woman. And I'm a voter, and I'm a born and bred Montanan. I'm a volunteer, I'm a homeowner, I'm your neighbor. I am your customer in your shop, I am your client, and I am your friend. And when you attack my family, you attack me. There was a meeting this morning. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend because I was doing some other community activism, but one of the things that came out of that meeting this morning was a need to have a response that was going to continue after you walked out of this building today. And this morning, that community planning meeting brought forth many ideas. 60 people worked on some thoughts of some ways to make that happen. Fire, as Karen has shown us, and the Lesbian Avengers have told us, needs to become our symbol. We don't need to be frightened of it. And here it is. It says, hate hurts. We stand together. Please take one. Please take one today. Give them to your employer, your parents, your insurance agent. Oh, whoops, make copies, because we only have a limited number and we're running, financially challenged, but make copies. Make sure to give them to people who don't think inside of our box. Make them think inside of their own box and challenge them. When we conclude this afternoon, the Lesbian Avengers will once again eat fire outside of the main doors that you came in the back. For those who would like to participate, we are going to move forward in a candlelight vigil. We're going to walk in pairs down the street out front here. Please walk on the sidewalk. Please do not walk in the streets. I ask that you walk safely, that you pay attention to traffic, that you stop at the stoplights. Be safe. We don't want another tragedy. Be sure that when you get to the bridge that you line both sides of the bridge, go ahead and cross Higgins and go all the way down. Candles are located in the back of the church if you were unable to bring one. They were donated, so please grab one on your way out. And I'd like to thank the people who took such great care and time and energy to get us these armbands as well. They're very much a sign of solidarity, and I appreciate the time and energy that was given for those. Thank you.
Well, we decided there was as much talking as most of us could probably handle. Would I ask you to have the Montana Women's Chorus come back up? We have had a request for the last song to be different than what we had in mind. And I think you all know this one, and we would really appreciate it if you would stay and sing with us and then join the vigil. I have one last comment to make, which is we would like to ask the press, and we really, let's thank the press for coming first. We have had a respectful request, which is to the representatives would like to not have to speak any more to the press today. They're exhausted. Obviously, emotionally, it's been a really short time from the time they've been put through all of this. So if we could all respect that, that would be really helpful to them, I think. But thank you so much for being here. And when we have the song we've been asked by the families to sing is one that's always perfect for this is "We Shall Overcome." And we shall indeed overcome it because of all of you and all of us. We will. And so if you could all sort of stand up together. Up forward. Do it. Now, there's a song. I don't know.
I do
big thank you to Randy Ammons for doing that wonderful job of taping of the rally. And I hope that a lot of people have been able to see it again and feel their spirits maybe buoyed up a little bit, and reminding themselves to continue with the positive actions, including getting that Hate Hurts poster out. Those are available at the Peace Center and at Kinko's and on the Missoulian website and on the Jeanette Rankin Peace Center website and quite a few other places in town. I think that it's a good time to go ahead with our panel, and each of the panel members is going to make a brief statement, and then we'll be very, very happy to get some phone calls, and we will visit while waiting for phone calls if none come in, but feel free to call while we're visiting. I might ask you to wait till they make their statements first. So we will start with Anne. Would you?
Anna.
Anna, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Don't want to confuse with Anne. Well, I'll briefly talk about what the lawsuit is about and can go into a little more specific later. Basically, as you may know, that it's about extending health benefits to same-sex couples and to the university employees and their dependents. The Board of Regents itself has constitutional authority over university compensatory matters. And although dependence is not defined, the university system does have a policy of extending these types of benefits to married couples and heterosexual domestic partners. The lawsuit basically is about human dignity and equal protection. Each person has the right to make private decisions regarding the most personal things in their lives. Of that, I don't think many people would argue. The Montana Constitution is very special, passed in 1972. It has a textual right, or it's written into the Constitution that you have a right to human dignity. In the same clause, the Constitution sets out equal protection allowance, and every person is protected. That is the baseline, and the Constitution starts from that premise. However, the system does not necessarily, reflect maybe this fundamental part of the law. We have a system that has discrimination in it, and so other laws are developed through society to help correct this inherent discrimination within the system. The denial of these employee benefits interferes with the constitutional right to basic human dignity and by interfering with fundamental life decisions. So you see, I guess the point I would like to make is failure to abide by the Constitution and allowing the system to continue with discriminatory practices really is a form of systemic violence. And it says that when we differentiate by status, it says there's something wrong. And the legal system, I think it's a very important part of the legal system to take actions to protect those that are already protected by the Constitution. And I guess that's what I'd like to see. I think that's the premise that we should start from, is that there is equal protection for everyone. And this lawsuit is about ensuring that is guaranteed to these individuals. So,
Thank you. Bruce?
The group that I'm a member of, I won't say representative of because we're not that organized, but we are the ones who started the process 3 or 4 years ago, asking for this right, and I'm going to use this in the singular because all we're asking for in the lawsuit and all we were asking for in the process that led to the lawsuit was the right for domestic partners, same-sex domestic partners of university employees to have the opportunity to buy and pay for health insurance in the university system. There was no state money involved in this. And it is also a right, as Anna has said, that has been extended to domestic partners of heterosexual couples, heterosexual couples who are not married in the usual sense that we mean, but who declare a common law marriage. That's not a right open to same-sex couples in this state. And so we were asking for an equivalent right. And we were also asking, it wasn't a sort of willy-nilly sort of thing. What we proposed was the signing of a legal document declaring a legal connection between two people, which would obviously have certain legal ramifications in the event of dissolution and that sort of thing. So it was not a step that people were going to take easily. I can say that if I moved in with or had a woman move into my house and we were willing to sign the documents, whatever our relationship was, she could get benefits. She could get this benefit very quickly. I've forgotten what the timeline is, but almost immediately. I lived with a partner, the same sex, for well over 15 years, and that was not a right available to us. And that was almost twice as long as my marriage, I should say. So, so that we aren't talking about fly-by-night kinds of relationships here. The other thing I want to emphasize is that Outfield and now ACLU has taken up the lawsuit, are pursuing this through the system, through legal rights. And we've made some progress and had suffered some defeats, but everything we've done so far has been legal. The illegal action is the arson and the attempted murder that occurred here several weeks ago. And we're willing to work within the system, at least so far. Although there comes to be a time, I think, for civil disobedience, most of us in the community don't feel that this is it, and we're perfectly happy to let things work out the way they should within our system.
Thank you, Bruce. Ann?
Well, it's interesting to reflect both a mental health practitioner viewpoint and also a personal viewpoint. And a statement comes to mind that comes up in my practice as a therapist with people who have differences of lifestyles, differences of life choices. And it's quite simple. How does the way I live my life affect or harm anybody else, so long as what I do makes me happy and brings me peace? And if I'm living in that way, what difference does it possibly make who I choose to love, who I choose to take under my roof? It's just, if I remember my lessons from high school correctly, and that was some time ago, so pardon me if I miss it, but I thought we had a Bill of Rights that guaranteed me the right to pursue happiness. Is that the Bill of Rights?
Yes.
I thought maybe. Boy, would my high school teacher be proud of me. You know, the freedom to pursue happiness. And, you know, that has for generations included people who choose to live and love with the same sex. And that's just the way the world is. That's the truth. It has been that way throughout history. It was chosen, you know, our society has been so oppressive about that, trying to make that wrong, though that's the way the world is, has been. And the Bible itself is proof of that because of its statements about it, not all of which are condemning. And I'm no Bible expert. Don't call me about the Bible. I have to talk to somebody else about that. But it has been that way. It is the way the world works. And all we're asking for is the right to get that acknowledgement, the right to have families that raise children honor those children, educate those children, teach those children good values for living, teach those children good peaceful ways to live and productive ways to live. That's good, sound mental health. So there's both personal and professional statements.
Thank you. Well, I would remind our viewing audience that we'd be happy to take phone calls. And meanwhile, we will continue visiting, and I have some questions. One comment I had recalled from the rally, one person, and I couldn't remember who it was, and it was Christine Kaufman, who, in talking about dealing with this, said, "For God's sake, teach your children." And I think that's so important, and I think it's so sad that we teachers cannot often take a stand for fear of too much outrage from parents. And I'm looking at, during this terrible time, I would have hoped that every school in Missoula could have a hate hurts sign, that every teacher could put a hate hurts sign in the classroom. And if that brought up discussion, certainly any teacher can say, you don't go burn somebody's house, no matter how much you don't agree with how they live or what they do or what they think or what their religion is or what their color is or whatever. You don't go burn down somebody's house. You don't try to murder them. And it would seem to me that we could be teaching those things on the most simple level. And then if that causes a why question from a child, well, why did they burn down the house? What was it that they didn't like? If you can't talk about people's right to live a different way, as long as Anne says, they're not hurting anybody else, it's too bad. And this is something, though, that I know undoubtedly there are teachers in Missoula that would like to teach and have that kind of discussion in classroom who hesitate to do that. So I don't know if we're going to have a call. That could or could not be for us, so we will continue. But anyway, along with that, oh, okay, good, we do have a caller. Okay. Yes, hello.
How you doing?
Fine, we hope. How are you?
Good. Anyways, I just wanted to comment on these recent tragedies that have occurred to this professor. She's a lesbian. Should I just dyke out?
Well, would one of you rather respond? I'd be happy to respond, but if one of you would prefer to, that's fine. Well, okay.
I think we can let that speak for itself. It's an example of what this is all about.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We planted that caller.
Yes. I mean, this dike was not hurting this person.
Yeah, we do. I always remember the little Charlie Brown poster about laughing, when he's all tied up in his kite string. And humor helps, I guess. But it's hard, though, because that is the kind of hate that hurts. And sometimes it becomes physical. However, we do stand together, and we do try to take the positive. And what I wanted to ask, along with talking about the kids, one of the things that struck me as I've become involved in the human rights aspect and have met more and more people and gone to more and more gatherings where young lesbians particularly have spoken out and so heartfelt in the problems they're having in being openly lesbian. And I wonder, in your counseling, of course, do you deal with that a lot? Is this something, can you speak to that, the young people?
It seems to be easier for people to come out at a much earlier age, if that's what you mean, because there's more support from families. We have a wonderful national organization PFLAG, Parents and Friends of Lesbians, Gays, Bisexuals, and Transgenders, and the alphabet gets really long. But basically it means that anyone who expresses sexual diversity has a family, has a mother, has a father, oftentimes has brothers or sisters, or maybe has 2 mothers and 2 fathers. The family constellations may be arranged variously, and PFLAG exists, and I'm a member of PFLAG, to support people in their pride to come out and be different. We're only different. We're only recognized in this culture as being different because of a predominance of values which are based on fear and exclusion. You know, I heard an interesting, I was listening to a religious show on the way over here, and this speaker was haranguing about gays being terrible, and he was saying that, you know, he dares think that there isn't a single patriotic gay. Well, you know, I would like him to talk to the thousands of male and female homosexuals who have fought and died. Can't talk to the dead ones, but we can talk to the live ones. Fought for their country, fought for their country's flag. I mean, there's a terrible misunderstanding based on stereotypes. And I think that we're challenging those stereotypes both within the gay community and without the gay community. And one of the things you see happening a lot are people playing with their identity. How do I express this? How do I let this out? And I think it's a wonderful form of human development and growth. Oh, and to correct another misunderstanding, being gay, being lesbian, is not considered a disorder by the American Psychiatric Association. That was an untruth that was broadcast recently in Missoula, and it is not considered a disorder. It is not a mental disorder to be gay or lesbian.
Nor is it illegal, if you could.
I don't believe so.
Except in Montana.
Well, it's the law that declares it illegal is declared unconstitutional.
Yes.
Correct.
And on the basis of our Constitution. And although it hasn't been removed from the books, we hope our legislature would do that one of these sessions because it's sitting there as an anachronism and was indeed quoted by the Commissioner of Higher Education in support of his decision not to support this this request for benefits. But it is in fact not against the law in Montana, and as Anne has said, it certainly isn't clear-cut anti-biblical. There are certainly passages that suggest that, but other passages that don't. As there's been a debate in the Missoulian Letters to the Editor lately, which I took part in, it's also not unnatural. It's very common in nature.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. We do have another caller. Hello?
Hi. I just wanted to thank all of you for being good citizens and brave citizens and being willing to have a discussion like this on television. I think that when people are ignorant of facts, they become afraid of things and act out badly sometimes. And the way you combat that fear is with education, and that's exactly what all of you are doing. And I am proud to live in this city with all of you. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for calling. Do you need to do that or not?
Ethel, if I may,
Yes.
I'd like to talk something about Bruce. Bruce talked about the statute that was still on the books. Just to give a little background to that, there was a court case in 1997. Grison is the name of that. And the Montana Supreme Court found that there is a constitutional right to privacy, and so protected the right to privacy for same-sex partners, and did declare that statute unconstitutional. It has been asked to be removed from the statutes in 1991, 93, and 95, I believe. The legislature itself has refused to do that. And I think that brings about an important part for us as individuals who care about each other as human beings. It doesn't matter what our sexual preferences are, but to take an active part in government, to vote for legislators or become a legislator yourself to help equality rights. And one of which I think would be very important is to remove that statute from the books.
Well, and I'd like to add, for the benefit of those few legislators, especially those from Missoula who have tried over and over and voted.
Thank you.
And I'd like to paraphrase what Ron Erickson said at the rally, which showed in the first part of our tape, that there was a bill again this year from a fellow in Butte, and the same one to get rid of that law, and that it didn't even make it out of the committee. And it was straight party lines. And if you don't know that it's the Republican Party that isn't voting for this, then I'm telling you, because you need to talk to those Republicans and/or elect Democrats. I shouldn't say that only Republicans, I shouldn't put it on a strict party thing, but it seems to be a party thing. And you can at least ask candidates where they stand on that issue if you think it's important. The fact that the law is there makes it seem okay to hate, I guess, and to punish on your own. So, okay, we have another caller. Hello?
Yes, I am gay, and I wanted to tell you I went through a bit of gay bashing the other day. I happened to go downtown. I went to the local shelter for Moon Mill. I was sitting in there, and on the other table, I was laughed at, I can't say that word, snickered, laughed, and comments were made about my sexuality, that I would crawl all over a person, I was born that way, and I felt very hurt, and I complained, and even the word punch was used. I said, what's going on? And they said, well, you can move to another table. Nothing was done at that time. In the follow-up, they said, oh, next time we can ask those people to leave. But I was sort of gay bashed, and I feel hurt. Hate hurts, and it happens all over here in Missoula. I just happened to get a taste of it here at this particular shelter, and I was extremely hurt. I just wanted to make my point.
Okay. Thank you. And I assume you make it sound as though maybe this is the first time?
No, I've been hurt before with my sexual preference and that being gay. I've been hurt at the University of Montana. I've been made fun of. I would spit as I would walk by. People would snicker and call me queer and everything. And this is hurt. But what happened the other day was more hurtful to me.
Thank you very much for sharing.
I think that gay bashing, certainly of this sort, and also more physical gay bashing, beating up people, things approaching the Matthew Shepard case in the fellow who was murdered in Wyoming several years ago, occur quite commonly in our community, and other communities, I'm sure everywhere. And are often not reported. And I think one of the reasons for the concern and the outrage that has brought together the community, the gay and lesbian and transgender and bisexual community, and many, many friends. I'm surprised at the number of people who've complimented me on speaking out, who are friends or acquaintances or strangers. So in many ways, I'm proud to be a member of this community that is so supportive. But also, this happens here, and I think the outrage and the anger and the fear that we see in all sectors of the gay and lesbian community today is a result of this pent-up, systemic, I should say, discrimination that happens to people. If people are open about their sexuality, they get that sort of thing. Many resort to being repressed and closeted, and that's as harmful, or perhaps more so.
Dave, you have anything to add?
I'm really sorry that happened to the caller. I mean, that's inexcusable behavior. And I hope that if that happened at the shelter, well, there's only one in Missoula, and I really hope that that gets addressed with the administration of the shelter. And I hope the shelter takes action to prevent that kind of harassment in a place where I give my money, or there won't be money.
Do you know, I think there actually is one other shelter, and it is a Christian shelter. And I won't say that's where this happened either.
Say it's
but
church-run, because to
church-run,
say
I'm
it's
sorry.
Christian sounds
Okay.
like an insult to my heritage.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I think it is a religious-based one, but, and I think that there could be other kinds of shelters, so I would hate to say that this happened in one particular shelter.
Oh, I guess I have a comment on that as far as, you know, I mean, it's horrible that that goes on every day. And I would hope that that shelter and other individuals, other employers may make a movement to try and help educate as far as how to deal with that particular type of situation. You know, that person may not have known how to really deal with that, and I think it's very important that employers have some sensitivity training to help their employees to help through those types of situations.
Before we take this next call, I'd like to just add that I promise personally to call a person that I know involved with the shelter that we're thinking of probably and ask about this.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have another caller. Hello?
Yes, I was at St. Man's called up. I wanted to clarify. This happened at the Park Rollo Center.
Okay.
And so I just wanted to get that in, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think that we are all concerned that it would happen at Poverello, and certainly we will ask them to be as aware as they can. I don't know much at all about the shelter, how understaffed they are, or whether staff are always available. Certainly needs to be looked into.
I'd like to say that one of the responses, and one that has been embraced by much of the community, and I hope it would be by more, is the Hate Hurts logo. And I would ask our community, and not just the gay and lesbian community, but the supporters throughout the community, to support businesses who display it, to ask businesses who do not display it why they're not displaying it, and to get the word out and get this notice out that this is a community where we don't tolerate this sort of thing. Just as Billings, a community we would like to think ourselves superior to in many ways, rallied in a similar case in an anti-Semitic actions a few years ago, and established their credentials very well as a center that would not support intolerance.
I want to defend the Republicans.
Oh!
I come from a long line of Ohio Republicans, and though that's not always how I would have voted, when my mother heard of Fred Phelps's visit here, he had recently been campaigning. He was the God Hates Fags guy. He was campaigning in a city near her in Michigan, Traverse City, Michigan, and pretty much got shut out of all the churches there. I guess I also want to speak up for the majority of all the Christian churches I'm familiar with, is that while they're struggling with this issue, they are not saying hateful things about people and their sexual orientation. Anyway, she's 80 years old, and she said, "Who is this weirdo? And why is he saying such horrible things about people I love?" And she's never voted for anything other than straight party line. So, you know, although the leadership seems to think that they will continue to win votes based upon rather narrow views on things like homosexuality and no new taxes. What I hear today, the Secretary of State went after a sales tax. Now there's political death in Montana, but you know, while it has been across party lines, I think it's real important to reach out and educate Republican voters, and they can educate and select their candidates more appropriately.
Yeah.
It's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to take grassroots education. It's going to take neighbors coming out to neighbors. Our neighbors after the fire came next door and asked if we felt safe. Our neighbors, who are a heterosexual couple with 3 children, are stationing dogs front and back of their house. They're worried. Their feeling about a thing such as the arson was, if it can happen to another family, it may as well could just happen to them, because it was obviously an act of a deranged person.
And I think it's so important that the community at large support the minority here, because that's when any minority is attacked, the majority can't just look away, because it just increases. And so as far as the hate hurt sign, those of us who have them already need to ask other people in our neighborhoods and our friends. And in the last week I've given out a number of hate hurt signs to friends who just didn't have them up yet, just didn't get around to getting one. And it's amazing to me that so many good people are doing nothing.
Well, I guess I'd like to build off of that. You know, we have the current issue in front of us right now, and the horrible acts that have been done. But this is hate hurts, and we stand together. And I think it's the opportunity for each of us to stand up for all hate. There are all types of discrimination, and I think each of them should be addressed, whether it's our friends or strangers or an employer or any type of relationship that we have. Whenever you hear, oh, that person's fat, that person's skinny, that person's of a different color, that person may be gay, lesbian, transsexual, transgender, any of those labels hurt people. And it's easier to label people so we may be comfortable with how we act. And I think that just continues to build walls, and these walls of what we may see as protection, but they're really prison walls that keep us inside and keep us from meeting people of all different types, and to really learn and be educated about all the different people in our society and embrace that instead of shy away from that.
Good point.
And I think, you know, with our callers, that hate hurts, that the person who hates, it really does. And you have to pity them rather than hate them back, and try to love them. We have just a few minutes left, and I'm wondering, Anna, you did just say something, so we'll start with these two and then maybe come back if you'd like something else. But would you like to make any kind of a closing statement here? I'll start with Bruce.
Oh, well, I'll just drop a provocative bombshell. Going on and raise a question and not answer it for people based on Ann's comment about Republicans. We've had 2 presidents who were probably gay, and I think both of them were Republican. I won't say who.
Okay. Well, Ann, we'll go ahead with you, and then we'll see about a phone call if there is one.
It's from the book, Everything I Ever Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. Hold hands, stay together. You know, look both ways before you cross the street. Say you're sorry when you do something wrong, and try to be happy. I mean, it's not that tough to live in a culture which is open and accepting of diversity. It's so much more complicated to be otherwise. I know that there are larger issues which create hate and anger and acts of violence, and they have to do with forms of institutional oppression, which are way beyond the scope of the 2 minutes left that we have. You know, but it has to do with, this is a very difficult culture to live in, not because of the people that live in it, but because of some of the structures that we're still trying to correct and make work even better. And I'm really happy to live in a democracy where we have a chance through open debate and through open discussion to make laws we all live under. And it may take a long time for social thoughts to adjust to laws, and then laws to adjust to social thoughts. But it should be a dialogue, not one that's done with acts of violence and fear.
Anna, do you,
Wow.
do you want?
I'd like to second what Ann said and follow up with that. Here we have an amazing opportunity here in Montana with one of the most progressive constitutions here in the United States. And here's an opportunity to really set forth a tone of diversity and equality, and really follow through with that. The Constitution, whether it be the state constitution or the U.S. Constitution, we, each of us, everyone sitting here, everyone watching, everyone in this nation, is equal. And I will be happy the day that the system itself reflects that supreme law of the land. And I know that the law students in the community now are really encouraged by this and trying to help out. So thank you.
Thank you very much to you three panel members. I've really enjoyed visiting with you. And thank you to viewers. And if there is any time at all left, I think we have the credits and we have the CD of The Phoenix by Amy might be playing. So thank you.
I wish you could have been there last Saturday. I wish you could have seen what you had done. 1,000 people singing, we shall overcome, and we shall overcome. I wish you could have held the baby, shaken and afraid. I wonder if you had looked into his eyes, could you have lit those deadly flames? Did you think you could just erase their names?